throughout the week. It's a tough task sometimes. You guys don't realize the just the amount of time it takes to do research and watch the videos and scour over the notes and go over who reports and look at data and charts, and you got to follow social media. It takes a lot of time to create this content, and all the citizen journalists out there, from John O'Loughlin, George Webb, Mark Kulak, Peter Duke, Wendy Sloan, Chris Hunter, Bose. Sure, I'm missing a bunch out there. Jesse Hall. It's all awesome that you guys come on neighborhoodnewsstudio.com to showcase that. And we do get fan mail here at Neighborhood News every once in a while. We get stuff sent into us. We get some packages. So I got a couple. I want to do something nice and just read some of the notes that get sent our way. Now, these go back to St. Patrick's Day, because this is the very first time we do this. So if you send us mail to 1671 Westerns Road, Suite D, Temperance, Michigan 48182, we will read it live on air from now on. And this one is from Anonymous. I'm going to say Anonymous because they asked for their name not to be said. A little bit of change from a pot of gold for you to cook up some good eats on St. Patrick's Day. And this person sent us some chocolates and some food, and they're a constant participant in the research in the show. They send us a bunch of emails. But we got, hi guys and gals. Love your shows, especially Aaron, Andy, George, of course. McDuff, I can't read that name. John 2, Love, Bill T, Tyrone, Mr. Hall, Tara, etc. Mark and all, Addie. Sorry if I forgot somebody. Mrs. Waitman. She sent us a little gift basket for Easter there as well. So we do get some good notes from the fans. It is nice to know that you guys do appreciate. You guys are taking time out of your day to go buy letters at the store, write us some lovely notes. So it's awesome that you guys appreciate what we do here. NNS, it is not easy taking on something new when every day is a struggle. But hopefully you will know the struggle will all be worth it, even if it not seen in your lifetime. Blessings from a friend. Sorry, I need to wear glasses sometimes when cursive is hard to read. But yeah, this is something we're fighting for. We're fighting for the future of America, for the future of the children. That's what protecting the nest is about. And this is the hard work, the foundation that us and some other organizations and journalists out there are laying. Hopefully, hope a big hopefully they lead to a path of the American dream and success for all of us, because that's kind of what we feel being taken away. The freedoms and of the life we're supposed to live is being taken away from us right now. You see the food supply being shut down. You see our kids getting educated with some like SEL training and CRT stuff. It's like, what's going on here? Are you boy? Are you girl? We're all getting jabbed left and right. You see lockdowns in China. They had COVID lockdowns in Australia. There was protests all over the place. You see all this corruption going on in Ukraine. You see fake news media portrayed everywhere. It's like we may not see the benefit of the work we're doing now in our lifetimes. I hope I do. I'm still young. I'm 35 years old. But it still doesn't mean it's not worth it. It still doesn't mean that the future of the world doesn't get a chance also to experience life how it's supposed to go. You guys shut that door over there. All right, sorry guys. It's hard to concentrate when I hear people in the background. I'm like, oh, there's people outside. Tyrone. Tyrone's fixing his truck. Yeah, if you want to help Tyrone fix the truck, now's the time. 1671 West Stearns Road, Temperance, Michigan, 48182. Write that check to Tyrone. He needs it fixed, so we have an extra car here or our neighborhood new studio to get it around. It is nice having an extra vehicle, and we do appreciate Tyrone being here as well. So this one is from Norma Mora, longtime fan. She sent us some food as well and some snacks for Easter. It's a pleasure to see how the studio has developed within the last 6 months and more, and the expanded coverage and various Starr. I think these are like when she put the star in quotation marks. These Starr segments. I think she's talking about my segments. You're not really a star, but you act like you are, Andy. Get out of the way for George and the rest. I'm just kidding. Star segments add to the news station feel. If I don't seem as connected, just know that I don't need to read that. She divides her job. She's always please include him in your prayers. She's talking about infidel apostate. He so admires G Dub as well as the NNS gang and all the Ospreys. Wishing you all well, G Dub, Aaron and his family, and John W. Tyrone, Mark Buckley. Haven't seen Tom CIA. None of us have seen Tom CIA in a while. Got my eyes on you, buddy. Apparently, I don't because I haven't seen you in a while. So, on air lately. But hope he's doing well also. And may you all have a happy Easter and Passover. Thank you, Norma Mora. Thank you to Miss Waitman and the rest of the anonymous fans out here. I'm going to start putting these cards up on the set behind us. So you guys might start seeing them throughout the show. So if you send cards in, we're going to have a card wall. I hope you guys appreciate watching this live on air as live events unfold. I'm trying to set a precedent for all of you out there. If you really want us at Neighborhood New Studio to like you, send us cards. All right, all right, all right, all right. I'm actually going to watch one of the very first videos that we did here was the election night special, and I was kind of playing clips of the Bobolinsky George Webb video that he did here in the studio, and yeah, everyone remembers election night and the ballot and the ballot dumps, and when we cut the stream off, everything seemed fine and dandy. And then we all go to bed, and
come on, man,
Mr. Joe Biden and the gang take over, and life took a turn from for the worse in that moment. So we just wanna I just wanted to show you like the last glimpses of hope no, or of just happiness in America's eyes. What it was like in a past presidency. I just want you guys to remember what it was like in a pre-Biden America. No, I'm just messing around. When Trump was president, I mean, the economy was good, but the Democrats definitely and the powers that be definitely made things a mess. I mean, with all the George Floyd stuff, you had the BLM protests all over. Portland was on fire. And not to mention all the just social media fighting back and forth. Trump took part in it too. We all did. It was all we were, if you talk about divide and conquer, that's exactly what they did during the last election on social media. They divided us, and they're trying to conquer us right now, and we do all need to kind of get back together. We all realize we're a family in our community. We can't be hating each other. We got to support each other. And you see that with the supply food chains. You got to start growing your own food in your own garden. Start sharing your crops with your neighbor. When your neighbor comes over and asks for sugar, ask her how's her day doing. You know, pick up your dog's poop when you're walking the dog. Just the little things in life. But here we go. This is the election night. This is available on neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. But George Webb calls out Warren Flood in Wayne County on election night, a highlight from Neighborhood News Studio Election Day Marathon. So this isn't the full thing. We did like a 8-hour marathon. I forget how long it was exactly. This is when Peter Duke and Tracy Connors from the Reality OS joined us for the night. So here you go. I do have some news stuff to go over in the second half of the show today, by the way. So don't go anywhere.
Yeah, they haven't called Michigan yet for Trump, and I'm wondering why not. Why has Michigan not been called?
Because only 47% of the vote is counted.
Are you guys actually surprised that Biden is like this?
So in 2016, I recall in 2016 at 2:30 in the morning.
I just want to pause
there.
it right there. That's how much respect I used to get from Aaron back in the day. You see, when Andy used to talk, no one used to pay attention. It's through hard work, research, and confidence that people start listening.
There watching.
Aaron
Most
still
of the
does
country
this,
was
by the way.
decided. They didn't call Montana yet, and they didn't call Michigan. And inside Michigan, they were waiting on Wayne County, which is Detroit. Now, do you remember your dear friend that you wrote about in your books, who's in Detroit right now working for Microsoft, no doubt, punching away on the computer there at the Microsoft
Warren
office?
Flood. Where did you take my picture of Warren Flood? He took my whole whiteboard all.
That is the one great thing about Aaron, though, and George Webb. He may know George Webb's research better than George does at sometimes, because George has written so much and connected so many dots. He we read his books. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot I wrote about that. So, and Aaron just like remembers it all. So he's great.
My magnets, everything. He ripped it.
I know we were going to put the congressional people up
Their
there.
tornado came through.
But Warren Flood.
He's in Detroit right now. He's probably listening to you on his headphones while he looks for, Guccifer backdoors into.
So DNC operative Warren Flood was the key person that his signatures or metadata was on a document, which was called DC Leaks, which is supposedly the extortion document written by a Romanian hacker or someone in the Middle or the Eastern European hackers. But it turned out to have metadata in the Microsoft document for a guy who works for Microsoft Professional Services who worked for Joe Biden. He also had a background in earth resources, mineral resources, extraction resources in the country of Canada. He was an outstanding student in Canada for that, and a great guy to have on staff if you're going to do a Belt and Road initiative where you're going to be extracting resources from countries that you don't own, that you want to declare dominion over.
You made this before he even announced for president. Announced his campaign. This graphic was created by George Webb long before the Biden campaign was even a thing.
Yeah,
right?
Warren Flood. Here we go. So all these honorifics, all this fan service, it gets old after a while.
This graphic was created by George Webb long before the Biden campaign was even a thing.
Sorry about that, ladies
Warren
and gentlemen.
Flood. Here we go. So all these honorifics, all this fan service, it gets old after a while.
Is this just messing around with me? Or is this Addy doing this?
Graphic was created by George Webb long before the Biden campaign was even a thing.
Sorry about that, ladies
Warren
and gentlemen.
Flood. Here we go. So all these honorifics, all this fan service, it gets old after a while.
Is this just messing around with me? I think we're having a little glitch in the
Abby?
matrix here. I do not know what's going on with our computer or laptop right there. I'm going to get that video reloaded here. Give me a moment. All right, George Webb, election night Facebook. Boom. We got caught in a space-time continuum, ladies and gentlemen. I literally don't know what happened right there. But here we go. We're going to continue with the video. I got it queued up again. Hopefully it works this time. I like Peter in the Hat too. We should tell him that.
In 2016,
Ohio, Pennsylvania. They haven't called Michigan yet for Trump, and I'm wondering why not. Why has Michigan not been?
Because
called?
only 47% of the vote is counted.
Are you guys actually surprised that Biden has like this?
So
Close that
in
off?
2016,
Oh,
I
we gotta get
recall in
past that part.
2016 at 2:30 in the morning, sitting there watching. Most of the country was decided. They didn't call Montana yet, and they didn't call Michigan. And inside Michigan, they were waiting on Wayne County, which is Detroit. Now, do you remember your dear friend that you wrote about in your books, who's in Detroit right now working for Microsoft? No doubt.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta find a different clip here. It seems to be just I don't know what's going on with that video. It's taking like a little clip
And
out
I'm
of
genuinely
it instead
concerned,
of showing
and
the
this
whole
is-
thing.
If
here.
Nuke and Hov would have tried.
So in the meantime, I'm gonna play a George Webb Twitter just to buy me a moment. Here we go.
And then Gonzo has been found. I just saw Krista Fu, the Duran guy from Greece, do a quick video. Apparently Gonzo has been told not to leave Kharkiv, or I believe it was Kharkov. I saw both, two different cities though. They can't use his phone. He can't use his computer. So whether or not Gonzo knows about the SBU and whether he knows about the Kraken, whether he knows about the cracking to create these explosions at these old bioweapons plants so that they then have to move them. Literally, they have to move the Kraken to another BSL-4 lab. Now, the staging area was actually at Chernobyl. If you go back to Felix Sater, the staging area for DTRA was Chernobyl, and then they move it to the different labs. Remember, 30 different labs in Ukraine. So whether Gonzo knows about that, I've been following this for 6 years. Gonzo's just been in this the last couple of months. So whether he knows about all that or not, doesn't matter. It's great that he's in the country, though, and can follow up within the country, but he's kind of been hobbled a little bit. But hopefully we can work together with Krista Fu and the Duran down in Greece, and work with all these people to get the truth out. The truth is the key. Getting the black hand, the Hunter Biden metabiota, the labs, getting the Kraken into Ukraine. That's the key. And the Kraken, the SBU unit, is the key that tried to kill him. They gave us some very, very strong metadata when they caused his disappearance, because now everybody knows what the Kraken really is, and now everybody knows it's the SBU, and now everybody knows Western intelligence has been trying to take these old GRU operatives from the Soviet Union and make them Kraken, make them SBU.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's George Webb talking about the Kraken. We're going to get into another video that he did about Kryalova and Bogacheva.
Kraken, the SBU unit, the Ukrainian intelligence unit called the Kraken, is who kills Gonzo. Did Gonzo know the SBU was trying to coalesce the Kraken from all of the old biopreparat, the old Russian weapons program to Ukraine? Did he know that? Would they kill him just because he had a theory, or because he speculated, or because he had key information? I think it's because he had key information. the Kraken wouldn't kill somebody just because of speculation. We had a lot of information about a gal who was working with the SBU. She'd been recruited by Paul Whelan from the Russians in Moscow. She had worked for the actual president of the Russian Federation. She had moved to Florida and was doing visas, EB-5 visas, with Bernie Wisnant's wife, Ebony Wisnant. She got her degree, a law degree in 2010. Her name was Bogacheva. So it seemed like they were bringing these operatives in. She lived in Lima, Ohio, near the Abrams tank plant. The Hennige's anti-vibration technology she seemed to be very interested in. She seemed to be having this group of hackers that she was always bringing in. They went through the United States in 2014 in 12 different cities, caused leaks from where? Major plants, hacking into plant systems and causing explosions and so forth. Well, that's also one of the things that happened right before the coronavirus. Right before the coronavirus, again, remember, some people get sick down in Wuhan in September of 2019. Well, on September 16th, Novosibirsk, this thing called Kotsova explodes. Remember, using the Stuxnet software, you just get trained on it. Somebody trains you on it, like Peter Strzok. You can create these disasters. And what happens when a huge pathogen place blows up? Well, you have to move it. Where do you move it? Where do you move the Kraken? You move the Kraken to Ukraine. Did Gonzo know that? Did Gonzo know that? Ads.
I think I might have found a better video here other than the election night one. I think you got to bear with me for a moment on this one. I believe this is the moment at the Capitol, right after the surge, when everyone kind of stormed the Capitol and the lady got shot. This is when I believe that George Webb was first journalist to report the shooting and the Ashley Babbitt shooting.
I'm here with Eddie Ads. Yeah? Somebody made out with somebody's granddaughter.
Maybe.
Look it up.
This
Okay.
might be before.
We might move away from this guy. Yeah. So they just stormed the gate here at the Capitol. We were there.
Okay.
We were there.
It's a little choppy.
Right with the group. We were walking right with the group. They came over this first barricade, went over the first fence, went over the second fence, went over the third fence, and even some people made it up into the catacombs in the construction area right here. We've got Georgia Peach, our new anchor in Georgia. She's here.
I wish she was our anchor.
Actually, in Georgia,
Be better
as
than
well
me.
as the state capital, too, which is awesome. But security forces have fallen back to like the third barrier, their last barrier, and we just heard this big yell, and they just all shoved. I guess it's their orange hats. Orange hats on.
We were right
shoved over the barrier, and then
We were just learning how to use all this technology. This is when we had the big 26-day charrette at Mystery Island, and we were just learning how to use all this technology. This is like this was my first big meeting with everyone in the group. There was 20-something people there. We redid McDuff Studio. We went and set it up the way you see it now, and this is where the start of his the book McDuff Lives. It started this weekend. We collected all the data, we sorted it out and laid it out in a manner that in a timeline where John could tell the story of his dad. And this was a great weekend, and unfortunately there was this January 6th event, but this is right after the Capitol surge. We just bear with us with some of the technical difficulties. You'll hear John and I talking in the background. We're gonna lose connection with them at moments also, because they were trying to dampen down the internet services once the attack broke out. But here we go.
and everybody
Like calling it 3 times, and I was like,
And we were right in the mix of all three of us were right in the middle of the group. We saw the group forming right over there.
and then they went right over where we're standing. We're going to have video later. We're going to video later to show you exactly as it happened, but we weren't able to go live at this point. But Georgia Peach, our new anchor in Atlanta, what did you think?
I was stunned. I was a little worried. I was a little scared. I wasn't sure what was going on. Obviously, wanted to be post peaceful as President Trump has requested. But I think some folks
Do you want to listen?
in a
Oh,
close.
that's okay. Yeah, you've still got the link that I sent you earlier this morning, so you can send that out. when
Hot
you're ready.
mic.
Definitely not advocating that. We want a peaceful rally here. And, that's pretty much what we've gotten, other than this kind of storming of the guard type of thing.
Yeah, I need something to eat anyway.
Knocked down, but
I think they're just trying to access the lawn area.
yeah.
Yeah.
And things have settled down a bit. So, it was kind of a flare up before, but again, the security forces kind of fell back, and we saw some guys running up the lawn over on this side, and they ran up right towards the entrance there. So, just a little bit of mayhem.
Police and Secret Service running around with them as well.
Yeah.
I've
So
never seen that.
yeah, I mean, literally was a scene right out of Battleship Potemkin where you had the people, or Days of Red, or I can't remember that movie we all saw in high school about how bad communism was and how the Bolsheviks went over the gate. But that's exactly what happened. Now people want to get into the third area.
Oh, so this is their. Did you hear that? The doors open. This is probably when the Ukrainians started bashing windows and doing all that stuff because George and Addie end up inching closer to the action.
And you can see
It's a minority of people, but people are riled up. They're pretty stressed and upset with how things are.
And I just want to point out: does this look? This is what they call like an insurrection right here. Like this is literally going on 200 yards away from the Capitol building, and do people look like they're rioting and like throwing pitchforks and Mazel Tov cocktails? It's like, no, it was just a rowdy bunch of like small group of people that were trying to instigate this big crowd, and the big crowd knew better because that this is what they tried to do at every single Trump event. Pretty much, they sent counterinsurgents in there just to wreak havoc.
Are in our country right now with the political situation. Tom Cotton was on the other side of the Capitol.
Deborah
People were
cooking
booing
in the
him.
background.
Yeah, and so just Americans in general very upset with our politicians, to say the least. But no violence that we can see. Obviously the kind of barricades got pushed over as we showed. But all in all, pretty good rally so far. What do you think, George? We met up with Ann Vandersteel as well before. Yeah, we were actually en route to meeting up with her when all of this madness started popping off. We got split up with George. I was with McIntosh here, and we put up a bit, and I did get some footage. Again, spotty data here. We got Andy in the studio, kind of hosting right now, and helping us out. So we'll get that up later. But we didn't. We came back, we retreated, and we met up with George, and we went live right away. And people are up on the statue now too.
Do we have John now? Do we have John now back at the home office there?
John is back at the home office. If you guys want to go on McDuff here in a moment, we can switch over to that stream if you guys would like to. Looking ratty, Andy. Oh, need a tan. Are you guys ready to switch over?
No, I think we should just stay here. We'll record this later.
Keep it going.
Okay.
Really spotty. I couldn't get it on either of my phones consistent stream. So this is good, Andy, that you're helping us out here getting a decent stream. But lots going on here, folks. Live with George Webb.
The weekend where Andy became producer extraordinaire.
We've gotten stopped like half a dozen times from George's fans. There was this one guy, we were walking past him. Don't leave. And he just yells, George Webb, yeah. I have been longing. He's like, boy,
we are in charge with the security of Georgia Peach. So we're all kind of keeping an eye on her and making sure.
I protected her, guys. Don't worry. I know everybody's out there is freaking out about her.
You sure you don't need another 6'5" guy to show up and be a bodyguard?
Yeah. He's got all the jiu-jitsu moves.
I thought this is back when I thought you had to
See
scream
folks
into the mic
we
to
got
be heard.
folks with helmets, gas masks. The group that we saw, Georgia Peach, if you want to come up here as an eyewitness as well, we saw the kind of the orange hats kind of forming up over at that, and then coming in, and then you can see the look in their eyes.
The orange hats.
People yelling and all.
What's that guy? Biggs? Joe Biggs. The orange hat. He's in Ontario. You see Aaron. We actually banned him from wearing the orange hat in the studio. That was his look. He's like, I'm not combing my hair because I got the orange hat. He wrote that excuse for like what? It's George Webb, the orange hat rebellion. It's like, well, now it's to the point where we're like part of the Terrio group because we've worn it so much on air. So we had to officially ban it in studio. But that was the group. I asked them, I think a couple times, was it Black Boot Antifa? Was it Black Boot Antifa? And they're like, no, it's the orange hats. Those are the guys he had to look out for this time.
All of a sudden, you fall crowd, the gates fall, barricades.
And the gates went down. And I, of course, ran after it. Addie ran, and we left Georgia Peach all by herself for a while.
I was with her.
You were with her? Okay. I'm sorry. So, Dad, we're taking care of her. I'm sorry. There was a minute there where I had to follow the crowd. She's safe. She's safe.
Those Southern fathers are very protective.
Yeah. Those Southern dads are protective. So I do want to say that people are spilling in. And
Joe Biden's pedophile. Was this before or after the coronavirus outbreak? Before it? It was after. Yeah, it was after. Okay. That's why in my head I was like thinking, it was like, no, it was before. And then it's like, no, the mail-in ballots happened because of coronavirus. And that's the reason all these people are here. And we were all surprised because no one was wearing masks at the event, that they weren't like pinning like the super spreader event was because of the January 6th insurrection. But sorry, Addie, I didn't
pretty
mean
impressed.
to
I think there's a lot of
hit you
people
with
that
that
might think
pause
I'm
with that face
with
right there.
alternative media or like Fox News or something, because I've gotten all these dirty looks from everybody. But I'm like, I'm not with Fox News. Please don't try to hit me over the head.
Oh, that's when
there's somebody-
Fox News still had a bad rap amongst the right, because if you remember during the election night, they were doing the same thing CNN, MSNBC, all these other news stations were doing. Trump was up like 4 million votes in states, but they were still giving the states to Biden. So they were following that narrative as well. And I'm not 100% sure if all the news stations get their numbers from the same exact places, but like if you're projecting and you're projecting who the winner is, like, I mean, why would you project? It's like, just show us who's winning. Like, there's no reason to say Trump's up by 4 million votes, but Biden's still going to win. It's like, just wait till it's officially called. So we're not all sitting here like we got duped at the end of the night with these ballot dumps.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, nice to meet you. Good to see you. Where are you from? Great, awesome. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Charlottesville, I
See,
believe
he
I
knows
said.
who I am. I'm not with Fox News, okay? Now, I have to think our anchors are prettier than Fox News, but that's just me. Did you have something that you wanted to throw in there?
I'm just concerned about that.
That occurred
I
to
am
me
too.
too as
I am
well.
too.
Actually, when I initially saw that barricade go down, are there undercover spy and antagonizers, provocateurs, agent provocateurs, agitators among us? I would say probably we can assume that is the case. More than likely. So that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, and I think what Georgia Peach makes a really good point, because I saw the crew, I saw the different eyes, very different eyes, and they had the we're gonna go through that damn gate in their mind before they assembled them. Right. you almost can see them talking about this in the Senate now, saying, we're not going to vote with the unruly. We're not going to mob rule. Is it going to rule America? And this is a characterization, maybe a trap that we fall into sometimes when we get excited. We want to do the right thing, but sometimes it doesn't help your cause.
Now, are these black boot Antifa storming the gates, or is it actual Trump fans?
They're storming the gates. Definitely the Trump folks are storming the gates. There was initially word that there may be a fight, which caused a whole bunch of people to rush to see the fight, and then they knocked the gate over and used that momentum to keep going. And now I would say there's about 3,000 people on the South White House lawn right now.
Wow.
On the Capitol lawn.
3,000 people illegally on the Capitol lawn, correct? I don't know how you guys will listen to me. I have a very Kermit the Frog-esque voice, if you ask me. All right, this is a little internet interruption here. The Ashley Babbitt shooting, I believe, is coming up. This is we got about 7 minutes left here. See if I can skip forward here a moment.
Come on, sit up here. I wouldn't say this is a violent protest in any way, shape, or form. There was a little bit of action to knock the gates down initially, to breach the gates, but then I think it's all peaceful after that. Pretty much all peaceful after that.
Was it the National Guard? Was the National Guard I guess the security?
Any National Guard yet?
No National Guard yet?
Yeah, our Georgia correspondent says no National Guard here. They're in the outskirts.
Where in the world is Ann Vandersteel? That's what we want. Is she okay?
Yeah, she's around here somewhere. We're gonna go get her. Okay.
I'm trying to focus George. We were actually en route to find Ann.
And then this all erupted.
And this all happened.
George has ADHD, so we got to
True words were never spoken. I follow every aspect of the crowd, and
as long as we're all safe, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. So that's where we were en route to. George was talking to Ann, and then this barricade business happened. They stormed Normandy, more or less.
And then we lost George for a little while.
What happened to our older folk, the Tom CIAs and the Wesses of the world? Are they all right?
We went to get them coffee, believe it or not. We were going to meet, and literally we were swept up in the whole thing. So we were right there. We have video we're going to upload a little bit later. You'll see it right from the beginning. We're right in the middle of it. I'm right with them all, standing amongst them all right as they go through. So we'll upload that in a second. We're going to leave it here for right now. I think the resolution is going to be they're going to let everybody have the South
I
lawn
hope this
here.
is a clip. I'm pretty sure it is.
Neighborhood news.
He's going to call in at some
George Webb,
point.
yeah. So we've got sort of folks encouraging folks to go inside. But I want to tell the
I wonder if this is that old guy. We've all seen the memes of that like old guy that's like, go into the Capitol, Russian, and he's like, everyone's calling him like a CIA agent, not listening. And then you could hear in the background there's people yelling, go towards the Capitol.
Media here. I want to tell the president that I think it's very peaceful. It's very peaceful. The initial group that knocked the barricades over. I think we've got. I think has been the first shot, and I'm not sure. George, oh, there he is. Okay, there you are. Hey, hi, come on over. There's 2 shots fired.
See?
Not normal. So you're from Boston.
See, you just heard. They didn't know 2 shots fired. That's the first. I guarantee that's sure. That's not him reporting it. He's going to call in moment because this is the moment where they're starting to figure everything out with Ashley Babbitt. You start to hear stuff spread in the crowd. So they're going to go away and move towards the Capitol, and the it's good. It's good. The reception's going to get real bad. So George is going to have to call in, and that's when you kind of hear some pure chaos going on. But I believe Right Side Broadcasting or one of the other YouTube stations that was like allowed to stay up on YouTube for some reason. Mr. Pillow Guy funded news stations was broadcasting, and I'm sure there were some other ground reporters, but this is where I feel like George Webb and is the first person to say, like, in the public domain, that there was shots fired on the Capitol on the internet. And you just heard the whisper. I'll drop it back a little bit. George will be like, "There's 2 shots fired," as he comes over to Dave right here. But it's this is where they start to get the inkling.
But I want to tell the president. We seem to be the only media here. I want to tell the president that I think it's very peaceful. It's very peaceful. The initial group that knocked the barricades over. I think has been the first shot, and I'm not sure.
See, I think there has been the first shot. I don't even know how George heard about that. That must have been someone just yelling it in the crowd. They heard someone got shot.
Oh, there he is.
Historic moment in American history, and I think George Webb was the first guy to report it.
Hey, hi, come on over.
On YouTube.
There's 2 shots fired.
2 shots fired.
Not normal. So you're from Boston. Yep. Great to have you here. Hey, good. Are you with the crew?
This is my nephew, Danny. And
Okay.
this is Laura.
This is Tara Starr.
Yes. This is Dave's brother's son.
Youngest son?
No, brother's son.
Brother's son. Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah, awesome. Well, here we all are.
Yeah.
Well, I heard 2 large booms. I don't know what that's all about. I think it's a ceremonial decoration kind of cannon. I don't think.
It sounded more celebratory than anything.
It sounded more celebratory than anything.
They think there's probably people breaking windows.
We're gonna, yeah.
What celebratory thing? What celebratory thing is going off right now, guys? It's more celebratory if anything.
Celebratory for now.
Until further notice.
It's been very celebratory.
Oh yeah, it's been celebratory. I think we've got that word.
So he's kind of reporting on it now, but he'll definitely call in with the shot later.
We're so excited.
Yeah,
lose
so
connection.
I think it is a very peaceful demonstration. We're gonna wind it up here. We're running out of battery. We'll upload the actual storming of the gates a little bit in about an hour. We have to find Ann Vandersteel. So I'm losing my voice. We'll see you all later. Thank you, Andy.
Yep, keep up the good work down there, guys.
Hey, thanks for locking it down. You are the absolute best.
USA the rest of the night, so keep your alerts ready for over there. As you can tell, we're having a little fun. And this is right before all the news. We switched over to McDuff's channel. That is on McDuff's channel. I have to go find that real quick. But yeah, let me go find that, and we'll get to the shots fired moment here. A moment. So, as you can tell, we're also kind of like having fun and enjoying ourselves on the island. Is McDuff's channel down? Oh no, he just renamed it. Videos. Election. Let's see if that comes up. Give me one moment here, ladies and gentlemen. We got witness interviews. Live witness reports from the Capitol shooting. I don't know. Oh, this is it. All right, this is it. Here we go. Now we're going to McDuff's channel. You just saw the prelude to it, where they started hearing inklings. That you saw first George Webb just called us like right after the whole storming happened, and he's like, "Go live on air, go live on air," and it was supposed to be McDuff's channel, so it was like, and he was still coming to the studio, and it was like, "All right, we're going live on air," and then we went on with whatever I put it on at the moment, and he started breaking down the grouping on the grassy knoll and the rush to the Capitol Hill by the Orange Hat, and then you start hearing that there might be some shots. There might be some shots, and we're going to continue on. And this is finally, we're still having fun. At the end of the last video, you just saw McDuff waving the American flag behind me. Go America! And the tides turn here at some point during this broadcast. And this is, there'll be some of us just talking here. McDuff and I.
Good afternoon, everyone from Mystery Island. I'm John O'Loughlin, and welcome to our channel. It's called McDuff_2020. And coming to you live right now after spending about a half an hour trying to connect with George Webb, Addy Ads, and all the Team W down at the Capitol. In this pandemonium, we've not been able to secure a connection. However, Andy has hooked us up with the news feed from KLW World News, and we're going to ask their indulgence that we might share their feed because of the importance of this incredible event that's going on at the U.S. Capitol. So, Andy, if you would be so kind, let's get that feed up on the air and think about what we're seeing here. It's the most.
So you just saw us cut off on the last feed. That's where we're going to go find Ann Vandersteel right now and the rest of the group. That's what George, Addy, Tara, Dave, and Georgia Peach are going to do. And in between them going to find Ann, they actually, we've seen it, they all break into the Capitol. And this is like the live reporting. I guess it was KLW News that we did. I thought it was Right Side Broadcasting, but KLW News, and I believe they just take snippets from everyone and put it up on their channel. But here you go.
Amazing scene I could imagine. I see people inside the Capitol Dome, and apparently having gotten access without permission, just gone in. And I don't know how in the world security could have let that happen in such an important event. This is baffling beyond belief to me. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm not liking what I see, Andy, to tell you the truth. I don't see the rule of law being applied in this particular case, and whoever is going against the law enforcement is going against our country, in my opinion. I cannot believe that truly patriotic people would be invading the House of Congress the way we're seeing on the screen. It's astonishing.
They're just like hanging out, just who knows what's happening to all like the historic memorabilia and stuff on the walls. If you guys were, you get people that don't respect America doing this type of stuff, don't respect the history. Ukrainians, leftist insurrectionists, sent by the George Soros funded groups. That's the people that don't respect America that were involved in this. Watching our stream earlier with George Webb and Addy Ads, George will call in. When this all first broke out, they started jumping over the fences, and they were climbing on statues and stuff. And I specifically asked them if it was Black Boot Antifa, or if it was Trump fans that were the ones that were causing havoc, and they said for sure it was Trump fans that were going out there, and I understand being angry and stuff, but we can't sit here and criticize BLM and all them for destroying cities around America a couple months ago. Wolves in Trump clothing. Ourselves, so. Not sheep, but Trump.
All right, I have a call here from George Webb. Let's see what he said. George, we're on the air. I hear your voice by phone. How are you? Oops, we've lost you again. Let's see.
George? Yep, we
All
can
right.
hear you.
All right, we hear you now, George. Go ahead.
All right, we remember we were having trouble trying to find him and trying to hear him out. Fast forward it here.
Folks, it's going to be tough, though, with the signals down there.
I know
Ryan
I
and
call
some
him, and
people
that's how we
were,
get him. Okay, here we go.
Are you back on the landline?
I can hear you a lot better now.
This is very tough.
Just bear with us, folks. I'm surprised they actually haven't cut off the phone lines and stuff already if this kind of stuff is going on.
You wonder who's in charge, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Capitol Police, you know, they... Go ahead. Say again, George.
Sounds like be safe out there, George, if you can hear us. Everyone, like, I know you guys want the story, but make sure you guys take care of yourself before anything.
The suspense. George Webb.
We're trying to bring you some true citizen journalism here, guys, but the internet and the phones unfortunately keep cutting in and out.
You know, I really want to know who the... Go ahead.
Oh my God.
What did he say?
He said someone just got shot and there's blood.
Oh my God.
Please, guys, get out of there. Do not stay around. Oh my God.
At that moment, I thought, at that moment, I didn't know what that sound was. I thought it was just like, I thought they were, I know I'm sitting here smiling. That's like what I do when when I get in trouble and stuff. I'll sit there and smile or something bad's happening. I don't know why, it's just what I do, but I thought like something terrible was happening to these guys. And it was, yeah, it's good to hear that they did make it out.
I think they were saying USA.
There's definitely some screaming and a chanting, and I heard blood. And
wow,
I pray for everyone down there right now. We need to have the Almighty One upstairs protect our people out there.
Yeah, place your
protect all Americans.
Place your hand upon America and preserve us and protect us from violence.
I don't know if we should.
We're stunned. We're stunned.
I don't know.
George Webb will call back in and break it down for a moment.
Yeah,
he'll call me back here in a second, but I know
it's down there. Everybody involved in this and the families.
George, are you okay?
Yeah, we're fine. I got in the whole scrum in the Capitol. I got in, and I couldn't find the girls. They said they scooped her up, so they got her out of there really quick.
Okay. I'm just happy you're okay, because it sounded like there was some chaos going on right at the end of the.
There was definitely chaos. Are you guys still broadcasting?
We are live on air right now.
Yeah, then, but we couldn't. The girl apparently was picked up quickly, like at a tarp or something. So I don't have pictures of that. I looked for the blood smears and so forth. And I couldn't get it, but Annie, what did you see? I mean, I talked to a lot of different people, but what did you see?
Yeah, so I heard more or less the same story from two different guys. The first guy was actually this masked guy who said that he had been standing near the area where the guys came out.
Okay.
And the other guy was actually a guy who said he was there, and he wasn't sure if it was a live round or not, but it went through her neck, and it looked like she was likely dead. But he said that they like wrapped her up or swept her up. I think it was the verbiage he used. So I don't know if that means they moved the body right away or what that exactly means. It kind of sounded like that's what he meant.
Was she the only person that was struck by the bullet?
As far as what we've heard, it's just been one person, and it's a woman. And the second guy said he thought it was a white woman.
Addie, are there police around you now?
What's the question?
Are there police around you now? What is the security situation?
Oh, I mean, there's police everywhere. We're on the Jersey Ave in Independence right now. Yeah, right by the Rayburn office building. So this incident, from what I understand, happened on the high side, or I guess it's the north side of the Capitol, closest to the print building. But George and I are heading, looks like southeast on New Jersey Ave right now, and there is a lot of police cars around. And I mean, I'm seeing like probably a dozen or so within my view right now.
How did security break down? I don't know if it was easy or not, or like what exactly happened with the security breakdown. Why did people actually?
All right, I'm not going to continue on with this video here, but you guys, I just wanted to kind of get the point of like how Neighborhood News Studio started. That was like the first very big major weekend where a lot of things started moving. The ball started moving forward at a very rapid pace, and it was like that was the moment where it's like we have something here. We're onto something with what we're doing, and the truth journalism and the patriotic movement, and it just felt like we were doing the right thing. And I still think we are. I think that our audience believes in what we're doing and trying to tell the truth about what's actually going on in the world. And it's good to have guys like George and John and Kulak and Peter and Bill Taylor and the rest of these guys on our side, because they really do know how to dig in and do some research and uncover what's really going on. And one of the things that George does is leads by example, and like going to the places and going to the events. We've traveled all around the country. You see George in England and Rotterdam and the Ukrainian border this past month, and he leads by example and sets a good precedent for the rest of us to follow. But just switching gears here, it is Friday here at Neighborhood News Studio, and one of our favorite guests that we used to have on the show is Decode, and I miss having him on the show. He's great. He's a funny fella, and I kind of wanted to end this week out on a good high note. And he usually brings the bang, and he digs into George's research as well. Why can I not find the video? Okay, here we go. This is Research Revolution Friday with GW and Decode, and this was filmed on September 3rd, 2021. Here we go.
Getting better.
Yeah,
yeah. Is everything good? Any feedback?
No. I said your vibrato. It's
Yeah,
a
great.
beautiful sound.
So, it's been a great week. We're just kind of busting through and just kind of want to go over a couple things. One especially piped in. Earlier in some of my previous performances, I showed folks how to find Q level clearance jobs. And, the guys in the McLean elevator said, "Are you telling me you didn't pitch the job that we have up there right now to these guys while they were there?"
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying Addy maybe he's getting a gig. I mean, has he considered working for Lados?
Oh, Lados has a job there too?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go over potentially a nice fit. It's an DOE IT project manager. You got to be able to be cleared up to Q. So, folks, maybe look into what that entails. Lados, their background, they want to make the world a safer, healthier, and more efficient place. So just keep that in mind when you're kind of considering maybe applying. They have a ton of different ways to keep everyone happy there. And I do like to make songs. And I actually overheard that every day when they show up at the office, they actually sing a song to get everyone pumped up. And it kind of reminds me of like a dance song that I used to hear. And it's boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say Lados, Lados. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say payload, payload. And that's it. That's all they sing. I don't want to get your hopes up, but that gets everyone really pumped up in the morning.
I don't know that song, but it must be if you're under 40.
Oh, yeah. All the under 40 people just basically started dancing when I started doing that song there. It's kind of interesting because right now that is the only job being offered at Piketon. I used to have quite a bit of different positions open. And I actually was looking up, and Lados was ranked the world's most ethical company by Ethisphere Institute for the third consecutive year. That's 3 years, folks. 22 countries, 47 industries are competing for this title.
We spray it. It doesn't feel that way. We're only left with 5s on our eval. So that makes total sense. Yeah.
So, in 2008, this Ethisphere group maybe made some mistakes when they said that Alex Acosta was on this list. But, we want to kind of back off on that. We all know that he was the chief prosecutor for our buddy JF. I don't even want to say his name anymore. We all know who we're talking about here. They're working on a lot of the AI kind of stuff, and they're really focused on creating ethical AI systems, not only handling some of this DOE stuff. So I was kind of curious, while you guys were in Piketon, Ohio, does it seem like a bustling industry there, or does it seem like they're kind of moving more towards this AI robotics?
No. We went to the plant, and it's very busy. They've moved now to, I don't know, they might be doing the AI robotics, but they're now enriching up to 20%, which is steps away from weapons grade uranium. And the Farsi speaking trucking company still seems like they're, in
and out. Yeah.
Truck heading for Isfahan every day. Matter of fact, when we left Worthington Cylinder, you can even see it in my video, 2 trucks with very heavy kind of cylinders, big, 18-wheeler heading out. So it seems like Lados bioweapons business has never been better.
Yeah, and those trucks, they're really heavy, and they have the warning signs on there. Who would want to actually look at those, right?
Yeah, I know.
Just pay the fine for the overages. Who cares?
Yeah. And have third parties transport it, like the Rodens and the Wagners. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, so speaking of that, Lados just wants me to say, if we do find someone for that position, I get a $2,000 bonus for that, and I promise to buy George books and not rodent vape pens made with Dragon Distillery alcohol out the back of the Quickie Marts in Richmond. Those are just things that might have happened. I mean, I'm thinking about how these black market vapes are actually made, George. And we've got the black market cannabis at the Rodents. We've got all the alcohol we need at the Dragon Distillery. We have the transport and logistics. We got the quickie marts to sell it out of. Is there some sort of conspiratorial connection potentially here?
End to end, Javid's end to end vape till you drop weapons testing centers all over America. It sounds like to me.
Yeah, don't stop till you vape enough, right there.
Yeah.
So this format that is used in the vape is known as distillate, and it really does. It's equipment, your input, and this alcohol. So I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on the Javid. You said he was working in the hard alcohol industry too. Can you clarify a little bit what that means?
It was called Sweetwater or something like that. It's on the Javid.com website. And it was spirits, like Southern Comfort type of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean,
mainly in the American South near military bases.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense because this is kind of a substance that sometimes has a shortage. So if you were able to kind of make it yourself, that would kind of keep you off the radar, because if you were having to purchase large amount of alcohol to do this distillation, it possibly could red flag you. So kind of keeping it in-house is starting to make a lot of sense. We've already discovered the value of PEG and its encapsulation. Since this time, the quality, pun intended, of the vaporizing mechanism has definitely gone up. You can really dial in, type in exactly the temperature digitally, and figure out exactly where that temperature range needs to be depending on what's in there.
And throw in some biochlorinated graphene. Hey, I mean, we got to throw that in as a possibility. You can now encase that or lace that in the fat bubbles. There it is. You don't think we can start a war over one little test tube? We sure can, right here, graphene. There you go.
Yeah, just make sure to hold it with a metal tweezers, right, with no rubber tips.
R&D only.
Right.
R&D only for your shoulder only. Wow.
Don't drop it. Oops.
Biochlorination. Get that pizza slicer going. Biochlorination.
It was kind of weird buying that stuff and having it sent to Neighborhood News Studio. It was like, if they do any research, they're gonna figure out we're doing no scientific studies here.
Biochlorinate our graphene oxide here. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I just kind of wanted to review some of these. I was going back looking at the notes, and I know Aaron hit me up this morning. I was mentioning the June 4th, Do You Believe in Magic presentation I did. And I was actually just sharing that with folks before because they did not believe the Fauci and Irvin Magic Johnson connection. But there's some other things that I wanted to talk about too that I feel like have just kind of passed under the radar, and it would be just against Osprey ethics to not bring this back up and figure out what these folks are up to. And, our favorite think tank, I mean, it's pretty much hands down the Humpty Dumpty Institute, wouldn't you say?
Oh, easily.
Right? The name, the characters, it's just fantastic think tank. I was kind of looking at what they've been up to and some of the players there. And as we know, Mark Epstein is there. And we're talking about, some of these, if you could keep going down, Andre Carson. How do we know him, George?
Yeah, Humpty Dumpty. Well, when he's not taking prostitutes to the Humpty Dumpty clubs that they used to take foreign dignitaries to, I guess he has time left over to be on the Congressional Advisory Board there at the Humpty Dumpty Institute, along with Adam Schiff's brother.
Yeah, I mean, go through there. They actually have Adam Schiff on there now, and possibly one of the best
proxies. Why not just go there yourself? Yeah.
Right. And possibly one of the best photos of Debbie Wasserman Schultz I've ever seen. I mean, this is like whoever. There we go. There's our buddy.
I actually heard
Maxine Waters.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz actually had a
go down a little bit there, Andy.
A little bit up, a little down there. A little.
Yeah, you'll see that photo of
Debbie Debbie Washing Machine Schultz.
Look at that photo. Have you seen a better photo of her?
Yeah,
I mean, usually it's kind of like she's either mad.
That's Frederica, and these are all BlackBerry carriers, by the way. This is bioweapons BlackBerry carriers. All of these people, but there is supposedly this Debbie Washing Machine Schultz in Hallandale that does her stand-in photos. I don't know if that's true or not, but gosh darn, that's a great picture.
She's one of those people when she smiles that one eye is automatically like double the size of the other one.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen her smile that much in my life, unless it was, graciously seeing Emron, riding a horse or something. Yeah, so that was just kind of interesting. I feel like they kind of got blown out of the radar with the JF kind of craziness, and like, okay, Mark Epstein got the dude's money. He's still got a think tank. We've got these Congress people advising it. I mean, folks, what the heck's going on here? We got a lot of familiar names. And then one thing I found interesting, if you did want to donate to the Humpty Dumpty Institute, you could type in whatever number you want, and there will be no questions asked. It goes right to their PayPal account. So they're just ready for you there. I don't want to sound like, the Chamber of Commerce for Little St. James here. I swear, I'm close to stopping talking about I'm not even going to say the rest. We all know. But, really what it kind of comes down to is that Mark Epstein actually ran a business in New York. He was known as one of the best T-shirt screen printers. Did we know this?
No, Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeff Epstein?
Yeah, he was one of the most versatile silk screening printing companies in New York. So, we're coming up with new ideas, maybe getting the T-shirts going. Mark, if you're hearing this, buddy, we would be honored to learn some of these tricks that you used as this T-shirt extraordinaire guy. I mean, I don't know the content of what you were printing on these shirts, or if you were working with Kelme at all, but I'm just saying, there might be something to that. I know you started your own modeling agency, Saint Model and Talent. You had some trouble, no website, no social media presence on there, and you may not have ever signed a model. But your T-shirt business seems like it was very successful. So we're just kind of curious what the trick was there, and we're just glad that it's not counting tail numbers or something like that you got your success by. And, I know Toto got some curtains stuck in its teeth recently with that, but Mark, we're just worried, buddy. What are you up to? Maybe check in with us. So another thing that I kind of like to do here is I'm calling it the Trump watch, just to kind of keep things honest here. And I see that Ivanka and Jared are making the rounds, and they're pushing for Nikki Haley. Have you seen this, George?
I heard a little bit about this. It doesn't help me. It gives me pause about Trump, when I see things like this.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe we can chalk it up to just kind of testing the waters, kind of maybe the first female president. I mean, these are the words they're using to kind of advertise for some of these fundraisers. I did kind of notice that, when the election was happening, there wasn't much out of the Jared Ivanka crowd about the election being rigged. Pretty notably silent about that. So I was just kind of curious, are they just adverse to controversy, or is there more to this? Because didn't Jared kind of run the re-election campaign, or at least have like an organizational hand in that?
Oh yeah. This would be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Are you saying they're backing her now?
Yeah, they're.
I always thought they had issues with her.
Yeah, if you do Ivanka, I think I sent a link there. Basically, Ivanka Trump in-laws tout Nikki Haley for president rather than her dad. That's the Jerusalem Post. Then also Jewish Insider talking about Nikki Haley speaking at an anti-Semitism gathering in Long Beach at New Jersey Chabad. So it's just kind of dicey.
We're on our own, folks.
We dug into them yesterday.
geez, I thought I'd get a little bit of help, but nope.
Thanks, Darren Adler.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious how that one's going to kind of wash out. It was kind of like the Trump speech where we were mentioning the shout outs to the generals. It's
Just to let everyone know, here at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com, we will be wrapping up the last half hour of the show with it's not neighborhood news hour, but it's neighborhood news half hour to end the week. So keep staying tuned, and we'll start that at about 5:30.
It's like there's just certain things that just start off on the wrong foot, and it's kind of
Kelly thing. The Kelly shout out at Coleman just sort of almost stopped time for me. I'm like, you still don't know he had the leaky phone and was leaking all your conversations? You still don't know that? So that was a shocker. That was a shocker.
Yeah, and then I was doing a little research on Nikki Haley herself. I guess she comes from a background from India, and her name actually, if you kind of take the 4 words of what her name is, she picked kind of the most American sounding from those 4 words to be her public persona. And there's, nothing better when looking at a political figure and having to type in real name next to their name. I mean, that's always kind of weird. So that's something for us to kind of look at it. And, I can't have a week go by without kind of doing the Bezos watch too. And I did notice that his father,
crowded
Miguel,
elevator. That's a crowded elevator over there.
Oh my God, this elevator! It's like, guys, who's going to actually get off here? So this Bezos watch. I'm looking at his father, Miguel, and he's working on these charities that look a little shady to me. One of them is for Salisanium School in Wilmington, Delaware. Their motto is, "I have taken hold and I will not let go." And they are connected to the Operation Peter Pan, Pedro Pan. That's where Bezos allegedly came in on, the Cuban refugee story, which is starting to look really freaking weird here.
Midget tricycle team, a unicycle team.
Look at the name of that pastor, if you would, too. See if you recognize that.
Bezos came in on a midget.
Yeah, it's tiny font there, but last name Byrne, B-Y-R-N-E. I don't know where we've heard that. Possible connection. I don't know. That guy looks pretty shady to me. But they're obviously very concerned about this charitable organization. So just to kind of get people up to speed with this Peter Pan, clandestine mass exodus of 14,000 unaccompanied Cuban minors, 6 to 18 years old, allegedly only a 2-year span between 1960 and 62. There was 2 main components: the mass evacuation of Cuban children via airplane, military transport, one would assume. They got into Miami. That was the common hub. The programs set up for them were already set in place. Most of these were children of elite and well-off members of society. Hence why most of them, if you look at some of the famous people that came in through the program, all of them have pretty important roles. So, pretty interesting there. Both were led by the Catholic Welfare Bureau. And it just made me think of the Catholic Charities connection that our friend Peter worked with his family. And I just wonder if there's some sort of connection there. At the time, this operation was the largest mass exodus of minor refugees in the Western Hemisphere. So I just got to wonder, of all those people, we're talking about over 10,000 children. Like, where are they today? What are they up to? If Bezos is one of them.
Well,
so
if you believe in Robert Malone, I guess you have to believe in Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you believe in Amazon and Bezos starting Amazon with $1,000 loan, you have to believe in Peter Pan too.
Right. And what was the whole platform based off? Was it like the DARPA purchasing?
No, it came out of Kulak did a good article on that. It came out of the mobilization command here in was it the MCATs or the MTAC? I can't remember the name of it, but it's over here in Detroit, the Robo Tank unit, and that the basic to acquire all the bill of materials for the war effort. And
like figuring out the vendors, transport and logistics, getting the best price, bulk pricing, all that kind of stuff.
Ballmer stole it for Microsoft, and that's how Gates got basic.
So, you know, back to this
Arsenal tank plant.
No, but it's the Advanced Technology Center, but I'll think of it in a second. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so, you know, back to this donation. So this Miguel Bezos gives $12 million to this school. And if you look at the school, in August of 2011, there were 39 lawsuits against the school that had to do with children being abused. And the insurance companies that were attached to the school paid out nearly $25 million that was shared among the plaintiff. So this donation was nearly half of that payout. So Mike, you know, I'm just kind of curious, why would they have done that? Well, as it turns out, Miguel Bezos and his wife are graduates of that school. So that's kind of interesting. Wilmington, Delaware, Biden territory,
DuPont territory, Dow territory, Duisburg Scholar territory. Wow.
Yeah.
If you wanted to test bioweapons in Haiti, you would not want to miss this as one of the organizations you were a part of. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you'll like this part, George. The Cleveland Plain Dealer was one of the first publications to introduce this story, and they were pretty much about 3 years ahead of any of the mainstream stories of this Peter Pan. So just kind of want to give a shout out to the Cleveland Plain Dealer. I know that's kind of, as we've done our research, they pop up. I mean, isn't that like the Rakis and that crowd? Did he work for them, or?
I think he worked for the Columbus Dispatch, but Cleveland Plain Dealer has done a lot of great investigating. They used to. They did Family Secrets. But yeah, Cliff Arnebeck, Columbus Dispatch, Fit Rakis. Some good investigative journalism in Ohio.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of bring that up as a motivation. I mean, here's just a local paper being able to just drop the heat, and that's kind of what we're doing now, right? So don't think that you need to have all this crazy financial backing. I mean, we are just using a fine honed-in skill that we've put together, and they did too, even back in the day. So just kind of want to give a shout out to them. So, you know, these Catholic charities, this whole like Catholic welfare thing, I just kind of wonder what they're doing today. And so that's kind of how that little section ends. And we brought up McCone earlier, and I just wanted to throw it out there that as I was kind of doing some research into McCone, because I was actually just trying to figure out how to spell it. It is an unusual spelling, McCone, correct?
Yes.
And if you do a compound search with him and LP Guys, our favorite guy, they worked together at the AEC, correct?
Yes, he did go on to the AEC. That's right.
So that's kind of pretty interesting. So I found a appropriation bill of 1958, find in page McCone or Geis. And yeah, pretty interesting that those two would be interacting. I'm very interested in kind of taking that one a little further. What do you think they possibly could be doing together there?
Well, I thought of the sub program in Ohio. You know, Babcock and Wilcox, before it became BWXT, made all the boilers for all the Navy ships. And so we're right there in Cleveland and Barberton and all the different factories they have. And then they added the nuclear piece, the nuclear boilers, basically with Piketon, when they enriched uranium and so forth, and where we were. And this is like, we're right in the center of this. And these are all the Q clearances that are coming out of Columbus for this project. And here come all the Nazis, right? And these aren't the aviation Nazis over in Dayton, but go about an hour and a half east. These are the sub Nazis, and which later, and then the NASA Nazis come later, and the bioweapons Nazis are right in between in New Albany, out where Les Wexner is at the Battelle Institute. So it's like they're literally within 90 miles. We've been going back and forth between all these things every day for a week. And you're right on the money here. This is This goes back to the 50s where Geis and McCone and Prescott Bush and Sam Bush, his father, and Richard Nixon brought all these Nazis into Ohio.
Yeah, I'm wearing the golden thread shirt here, and I'll never forget sitting at that table, George, and saying, "Stop the freaking chaos in my mind" song for a second. I got something.
Yeah.
And this 1958, if McCone, because he's like one of the founders, or at least in the entry point of the CIA, coming out of the OSS, is this right around the time Geis and McCone talking to each other? Is this somewhat a lead towards some of the first Q clearances? 1958.
I thought the Q clearances started a little bit before that. With the first Q clearances were the sub project, the nuclear sub, the Nautilus. But I thought 52. But you're right. I mean,
it's right around there. There couldn't have been many at that point.
But you're right. And guess what happens after a lot of these things get closed down? The NEPA project, and there we have a small earthquake here. The NEPA project, which is a nuclear powered airplane, a lot of the Piketon plant, a lot of these things get swallowed up by the Army. But you're right. All these nuclear things is the genesis of all the Q level clearances. And that, of course, leads the Battelle Institute to say, why not repurpose this for bioweapons?
And that's kind of been one of my main kind of leads, is get me the list of the first 10 Qs, and I know we joked about that a while ago, but it's still, I'm starting to get a little chaos in my mind about that. And so I think, kind of focusing on that early 50s time frame, like you're saying, like 52 to 58, I think we're going to get a lot of hits there.
Yeah, U.S. Army NEPA.
And, to kind of bring it all together here, Department of Energy, how does it eventually get to the point where some of this bioweapon stuff falls within the Q clearance kind of landscape? And it's due to the need to know basis and the danger factor, right? So you can, if you're attenuating bioweapons to create potential vaccines, that still falls into that same danger level. So I'm kind of seeing this connection of how, starting with Department of Energy, how do we eventually go down the line to modern day? And some of this is falling into that same scope. And it's the need to know basis, and the danger factor is kind of the best way I can explain that.
Yeah. Well, very interesting. I thought about it. I think of most of my books while I'm sleeping. The nuclear airplane, Andy, and then say NEPA. Nuclear airplane, and then U.S. Army NEPA. I started thinking about, just like McDuff. Was McDuff on this? Where would he have the 68,000 files? He could just start with Ohio and never leave Ohio. You got 3 different projects there. You got the sub project, you got and then later NASA, but then you have the Army, firing ranges and so forth. Plus, you also have the Battelle Institute with the bioweapons. Plus, you have the Fernald in Cincinnati. You have the pits that they're doing, the plutonium pits that they're doing at the mounds. You have the Piketon with the only gaseous diffusion plant, or maybe Paducah's the other one. You have the centrifuge project taking off there. This is all in just one state. Ohio is the heart of it all. Absolutely. I think it's the heart of maybe McDuff's investigation with the 68,000 files. I'm not saying that they weren't doing some pilot reactors, and Navy wasn't doing some pilot reactors at the Philadelphia Navy Yard, or down over there by Anacostia, or other places. I'm just saying, if I was McDuff, well, the CDC would be my other stop in Atlanta, but I would be in Ohio. I would be at the DISC where they're giving out all these clearances like candy.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note as well, and you've brought this up a number of times, is the slave labor and technology advancement that took place during World War II to get them here, and someone like McDuff would see, he'd say, wow, this is already way advanced. They're ready to build planes. They're ready to do what? Whoa, this is crazy. And that's kind of the mentality I'm kind of getting from this. If we have patriotic elements within our country that are, swore an oath to protect us, and literally are like the top of the food chain as it relates to that, they're of course going to be able to put this together. they're going to look at what's going on in Antarctica and the cover stories that it's a desalination plant and they need nuclear power down there to basically work that desalination plant. I mean, it just really blows my mind. And then you think 68,000, whereas we're told it was like 14,000 or whatever up until a couple of years ago. We're on to something, folks. And I think using the genealogy is going to be the key to putting this together too, because once you start figuring out, did they change their names? What are the cover stories as it relates to the 68,000? It's just kind of like putting the drug sniffing dogs out there and looking for some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people saying Geis's dad is from Cuba, or Bezos's dad is from Cuba, but what they're really trying to do is disguise Geis, G-I-S-E, who's his grandfather, because he was in the United States, right? And so they put a guy, they get a guy like Castro, who's one of the plantation owners and one of the intelligence operatives in Castro's little circle, right? Now all of a sudden he's going to be the father of Bezos, right? So it's interesting how they do the rinses here, but AEC, running AEC and having 10,000 people working for you and doing all their clearances and placing all the people in the national laboratories, and then all of a sudden you go to a Mariel boat lift dad. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, like what you're describing is not direct generational cover story. It's actually skipping a generation to avoid that part of the family tree too.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's a formula is what I'm realizing that has been going on for quite a long time. And this same idea of the Project Paperclip mentality of the spoils of war, including scientists and such, has been going on pretty much for every war. Whether it's in Russia with the fall of the Soviet Union, megatons to megawatts, it all kind of is the same kind of formula. And you have to bring in the White Russians, you've got to bring in the paper clippers, and then you've got to bring in their children too. So that's kind of interesting as that 68,000 number starts to get quantified. Is that going to include family members too, or is that going to be just military age people? What are your thoughts on that?
Right here, that Jeff Bezos is Geis's nephew.
No, Geis's grandson. Yeah, but his father supposedly is this boat lift person from Cuba. It's like, well, you were hiring 10,000 Nazis 2 minutes ago, but you left the country to go be with Fidel on the United Fruit plantation, and then they re-rinsed you as a Cuban refugee to come back into the United States through Operation Mongoose. Oh, okay. Well, we'll forget all about your father, putting 10,000 Nazis into the national laboratories. That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Because now you're a Cuban refugee. Okay.
Yep. And then one way that I've learned recently from Deep DNA of how to kind of discover some of this awkwardness is looking at your birth certificate and to see if it is delayed. Look when the application was made for your birth certificate, and then look when it was actually issued. Some people will find that there's a 15-year gap potentially for that. And a guy like Jefe Bezos, I imagine, has a weird birth certificate. Just saying. So back to Ohio a little bit here. Give me a Jim Traficant story, George. I know you got one.
Other than being involved in the assassination of Kennedy, you mean Samuel Traficante
I'm talking.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have the wonderful, the great Decode. It's been a while since he's been on the show himself, but he's welcome back anytime. So if you're out there, Decode, and you're listening, come back, bud. We love you. We love your humor. You brought a light-hearted, research-heavy product every Friday, and I know the audience does miss it dearly as well. And yeah, that was one of the times George, that was Studio B, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving, we're growing. We got 2 studios now, so it is fun to go back. We were watching the Mystery Island, the January 6th event, the very kind of start of Neighborhood News Studio, and we thought we had something special. It's fun to go back and watch these videos and see how we develop and how we grow. We had George doing the Bob Olinsky video in here with I believe there's like 12 people just sitting around, and we had 5 TVs. We had a circle of TVs, the circle of people that were doing the talking on the stream, and then on the outskirts of the TVs, we had a bunch of researchers that were doing research on what the show was being talked about. And as we would go, people would stand up and like, "Oh, here's this, here's this." So it's a great atmosphere for a research show, and we need to get back to doing some of that. So I said I was going to do the last part of the show. It's going to be the research half hour, but it's going to be the research 20 minutes. And before I actually get into the research, I do just kind of want to get
his grandson. Yeah, but
what is talking right now?
Yeah, but his father supposedly is this, boat lift person from Cuba. It's like, well, you were hiring 10,000 Nazis 2 minutes ago.
I got to figure out what's talking right now.
But you left the country to go be with Fidel on the
like decode, and George Webb just popped back up. I think I figured it out though. All right, so here I just want to give Neighborhood News 24/7 a quick plug. Here's our website, neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. If you'd like, you can hit that donate button in the top corner, and that contributes to the growth of Neighborhood News. You've been with us since Neighborhood News Hour. You've grown with us to Neighborhood News Studio. Now expand with us to a Neighborhood News Network. And every donation, every time someone buys a book or a mug or an audio book, it goes to the future of this organization and the future of America, we think, just because true journalism matters. So you hit that tab on the top, NNS 24/7. It will be behind a paywall for you, so you got to sign up for this. But within NNS 24/7, this is where you get the entire George Webb video archive. We have people working on uploading all of George's past videos. We got as we speak, we got Mark Kulak live. Every show he's done here at Neighborhood News. You got John O'Loughlin, The Duke Report, News Others Myths with Harry the Greek, Chris Hunter, Wendy's World, Neighborhood News Hour. And you see this research section. This is kind of the pre-launch of NNS 24/7. So I will be adding to this weekend. We got more blogs coming this way, and this research is going to be the most important part, because I'm going to share all the WHO documents, all the Ralph Barrick videos that we display on the screen, the maps, all the links that you see throughout the show will be posted beneath the research section here, because we feel that's what the basis of what Neighborhood News is about. And we hope all of you guys can participate in the process, and you can sign up for that underneath the NNS 24/7 tab at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. So Aaron, getting back to the research. Speaking of it, how's my hair looking, ladies and gentlemen? Is it looking good? Is it looking up for par? I gotta move the screen right here so I'm not looking down and I'm looking up. Whoop. Got some obstacles in the way. So, don't mean to yell into the microphone. So, how we doing here on the volume? Aaron sent me a couple articles while George and Decode's stream was playing, and I would like to share them. There are two. You'll notice some themes on these articles. I'm just going to read the headlines of them, and then I'll explain why they're important. Afterlife of trauma, Liberian lab chimps settle into retirement, and this was written April 21st, 2022. And then we have another one here on the Daily Mail. The chimpanzee outcast dumped on uninhabited Liberian island after years of torture. Animals forced to undergo experiments for U.S. funded project now rely on carers bringing food to survive. April 21st, 2022. And these articles, they were featured. The first one was featured on the Drudge Report, and the second one was just featured on the Daily Mail. Now, if you've been paying attention to neighborhoodnewsstudio.com, Mr. Mark Kulak has been really, really digging into Liberia, the chimps, Ebola, Dr. Anna Kilborn, JJ Desmond, Metabiota, and Dr. Heinz Feldman from the Rocky Mountain Laboratory was there. Michael Callahan was there for the Ebola outbreak. All these scientific characters within the biolabs that we speak about that are trying to push this zoonosis theory forward. You know, zoonosis wasn't a thing until HIV, and ever since then they've been really putting a lot of marketing dollars. That's how I'll put it. A lot of marketing dollars behind the zoonosis theory. And Mark Kulak has been digging into this stuff for the past couple weeks. The chimp lab, it burnt down recently. Let's see if I can find that Twitter here. The chimp lab. Liberia Chimps, I believe is the name. So the chimp lab here, the Liberia Chimpanzee Rescue, recently burnt down a month ago. And this was something that was founded on Dr. Anna Kilborn's work behind JJ Desmond, who used to work with Metabiota, and he used to be a chemical engineer for Harvard. And him and his wife started this Liberia chimpanzee rescue mission, and it burnt down. Now we're seeing Liberia chimpanzee on Daily Mail. We're seeing it on the Drudge Report. And you don't, if you go and you read through the articles, you don't see Mark Kulak's name being mentioned for investigating some of this stuff. You don't see neighborhoodnewsstudio.com mentioned at all. And it just goes to show you that people are watching. They're watching this show right here. And that's what we feel like we're doing here at Neighborhood News. We're on the forefront of truth journalism. We're ahead of the game. We're 6 months, a year, 2 years ahead of the game sometimes when it comes to George Webb and this research. And we were the ones that were talking about the SISM games, one of the first people to talk about the SISM games as a super spreader event, and getting into the lab leak theory and how this whole zoonosis theory is kind of nonsense. And we dug into reverse genetics, and you just kind of see mainstream news and these other alternative news sites they just keep following up with these stories a couple months later, and they spew the same, not spew, but they pretty much just take whatever we're working on, put a little twist on it, and put it on their website. So hello Daily Mail readers, hello Drudge Report, hello CNN, and hello to the rest of the alternative news gang out there. Thank you for watching George Webb and the rest of the great researchers here at Neighborhood News. Represents citizen journalism proudly, and sometimes, every once in a while, make sure you give credit where credit is due. And just kind of having another story related to the chimp labs here. This will be my first article on the news 10 minutes now. It went from an hour. Actually went from 2 hours to an hour. Now it's down to 10 minutes because it's 8:40, or sorry, I can't read, 5:48 in the show. It's about to come to the end at 6 p.m. But more than 1 million African children protected by first malaria vaccine. And so the children of Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi, they got a dose of this breakthrough malaria RTS XS vaccine. I wonder if that means spike vaccine. It was pioneered in Malawi in April 2019 and found to be safe and substantially reduced severe cases of disease, the WHO said in a statement of the World Malaria Day in April 25th. The WHO recommended the widespread deployment of the vaccine for children living in sub-Saharan Africa and areas at risk in October 2021 and said its pilot scheme could save the lives of between 40,000 and 80,000 children in Africa each year. This vaccine is not just a scientific breakthrough, it's life-changing for families across Africa, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said in the statement. I just call him Tedros. But it demonstrates the power of science and innovation for health. Even so, there's an urgent need to develop more and better tools to save lives and drive progress towards a malaria-free world. Give us more money. More than $155 million have been secured by Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, for delivery of the vaccines, the statement added. Oh, Gavi, they were manufactured by GSK. Like you guys don't have enough money after the pandemic. Gavi, GSK. Now they're testing the SARS-CoV-2 mRNA vaccine on the population, on the world population. Now they're doing this small little test here in Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi on this new malaria vaccine. They're giving it to 1 million African children. And we talk about the future of America a lot on the show, and the future of the world matters as well. And we hear stories of what Aaron tells about Africa and his wife, and how it's a whole different world than our lives here in the United States. And one of the reasons is because their people are definitely used for these, for their, like, their gold, their oil, all their minerals, diamonds, but B, they're used for the testing out of these vaccines and these therapeutics and all these new virus outbreaks. We see virus outbreaks in Sierra Leone, you see them in Liberia, you see them in the Congo. It's like they release the virus that's reverse, and we're finding out reverse genetics. It's weird that all these viruses pop up with reverse genetics, and then they got these therapeutic vaccines just ready. Like, I wish I was a better snapper. Dry hands make for bad snapping. But it's weird how that's set up. You go and you test out the virus, you reverse engineer it in the lab, then you test it out in the field. Oh, there's a breakout, and we got the vaccine ready. Let's test it out on the rest of the population. And and these pharmaceutical companies are definitely taking advantage of our world population, and we need to take it back. Our health, just eat healthy, non-GMO'd Monsanto food, ladies and gentlemen. Like, they don't make it hard enough. Poison our food supply. You poison the air. You poison our water. You're giving populations. You hear about they're injecting asbestos in prisoners in the 70s in Pennsylvania. You hear about them doing experiments at Plum Island. You got the what was that disease? They tested on the black population in the South. I forget, it was hepatitis or something. I forget what it was. Can't think of it off the top of my head right now. Everyone's probably yelling, this is what it is. But they like to test these vaccines out on us as well. But one of these other experiments that they're doing in Africa, this is something that our Defense Department takes part in gene drives for malaria control and elimination in Africa. So not only are they giving these kids, you know, vaccines for malaria, they're giving the mosquitoes, they're clipping their DNA, you know, and they're trying to eliminate the malaria gene within the mosquitoes, and then they go and have kids, and their kids don't have the malaria gene, and those kids have kids, and by 4 generations down the line, there's only one out of the 100 of the mosquitoes have malaria instead of 66. So less of them spread disease. And if you look into the country, like Liberia participated, Sierra Leone participated, all these different countries in Africa, Burundi, Comoros, Djibouti, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Libya, Rwanda, Somalia, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Botswana. It's like literally every African country participated in this. It's amazing. And I was talking to when George Webb was on earlier, and this is the way we talk about how they set up these. There's an outbreak, and then they put a pipeline in one of these countries, and because of the outbreak that happens within one of these countries, they own the rights to the genes of the virus. So any research that happens from that point on, any vaccine that gets made, they have to kind of pay these countries up a little bit. And that's a way to do like some back channel deals, like, hey, we'll have a virus outbreak in your country, you own the virus, you get some cash from the pharmaceutical industry. Meanwhile, we can put our oil and gas pipelines in, and we see them now over in Europe. They're trying to subvert Russian oil and gas, and they're going down to Africa. All these European countries are for their support, and the research in bioweapons, I'll just call it, that they did in Africa with these foundations is the reason that these government agencies were able to come in and put these pipelines in because of these backdoor deals. But if you Command F, we'll do a little word search here, you put the Gates Foundation, look who has the intellectual property of these gene drive mosquitoes. Ownership of the IP for gene drive is an issue of concern that needs to be addressed and will need to be resolved as the technology develops, especially for humanitarian applications like malaria elimination. Competing patents for the CRISPR-Cas9 gene have been reported, but these are unlikely to affect its application for malaria elimination in Africa. Given their funding sources, the most advanced laboratories currently working on gene drive for malaria vector control will likely be signatories to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's Global Access Plan for Intellectual Property. This requires that the products from Gates-funded research are made available at reasonable cost to the communities that need them most, and that the results are published on open access platforms. So Bill Gates, he's been doing research into vaccines, virus control, and malaria control for the past decade at least in Africa. He does some gene drive therapy on the mosquitoes, for whose benefit I'm not 100% sure. He owns the property rights to some of the vaccines, so he dumps these mosquitoes on the population gets sick, and then he gets paid off for the vaccines on the back end as well. It's like, thank you, Bill Gates, for your sick game you're playing on the world, and you use Africa as your bioweapons playground. And not only that, California. Let me just search for this real quick. California mosquitoes. I shared this on my Twitter a month ago. Genetically modified mosquitoes could be tested in California soon. The EPA approved it in Florida already, and it's coming your way, you West Coast people. So we're going to have the East Coast being hit with mosquitoes coming up from Florida. We're going to have the West Coast hit with mosquitoes and these genetically modified mosquitoes in California. You got the ticks out of Plum Island in the north. You got the SARS biolab and leaks in Canada. You got H5N1 outbreaks everywhere. The food supply is just being burnt down across the nation. It's like, what kind of sick game are these elites playing? What more do you guys want from us? You guys just does it make you happy that the rest of the world, do you want us to all be miserable? Do you like us fighting? Being sad and depressed? Do you like us going to your doctors so we can get pharmaceutical pills to make us happy? Is that all you guys just want out of us? For us to become zombied out robots? It seems like it is. We're done with it here at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. But that is the show, ladies and gentlemen, for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to all this citizen journalists that helped participate in this research. We did a lot of great work this week. You had McDuff. He was breaking down the artists, the Brian artists, and the cobra venom. Oh, by the way, I do want to show that before we go. Just one little thing. Just one more thing before you go. Moderna co-founder using mRNA technology to treat venomous snake bites. And this was written in July 6, 2021. I haven't read this article yet. I just found the headline and I thought it was interesting. So let's have a read, shall we? Derek Rossi always said he'd be satisfied with his work when he had a positive impact on humanity. But after his research around mRNA technology paved the way for the rapid introduction of effective COVID-19 vaccine, the co-founder of Moderna realized he wasn't quite ready to hang up his hat. I always said to people that I'll be really happy on the day that we can impact human health, said Rossi, speaking from the Boston area where he now lives. I guess that day has finally come, and I've said I'll hang my hat, but I'm not ready yet. Today, Rossi is no longer with Moderna and dedicates much of his time to a new passion, preventing the hundreds of thousands of debilitating injuries and deaths that happen each year due to venomous snake bites. I didn't know hundreds of thousands of injuries and deaths happen each year to snake bites, venomous snake bites. There is no way that is true. I just got to search that up. How many venomous snake bites per year? Okay, you might be right. 7,000 to 8,000 people are bitten by venomous snake bites in the United States, and about 5 of those people die. Okay, you might be right if you mirror that over the rest of the world's population. Okay, maybe I won't jump to conclusions so easily next time. That's why you do your research, ladies and gentlemen. Scientists, I didn't even do the research on who did the research. Okay, it's never ending. It just comes down to you yourself interviewing everyone who got bit by a snake bite if you really wanted to do the research. Scientists who work in the tight-knit snake bite research community. The tight-knit snake bite research community say nothing substantial has changed about how we treat venomous snake bite in over 100 years. I would love to hang out with those people. I guess Paul D. Podesta probably is the head of the clan. He's very reptilian looking, if you ask me, kind of slimy. Doesn't look like he has legs, you know. He kind of just has to slither around everywhere. He's the one biting people. People around him, they're the ones that are doing the research.
Come on, man.
All right. Rossi said that's not good enough for what we should be considered to be a global health challenge that kills approximately 100,000 people per year and maims another 500,000. Many of the people affected are impoverished and work manual labor jobs like farming. Get to the good point where mRNA is used. Rossi has done countless interviews since Moderna became one of the first companies to produce COVID-19. In one interview, he mentioned offhand that mRNA could have more uses than vaccines, such as the anistera used to treat venomous snake bites. That comment caught the attention of scientists in the snake bite community and eventually led him to become an advisor for a company called OLoughlin, which is working on a pill that could help save people's lives immediately after a snake bite. So they're making an mRNA pill for snake bites. It's probably going to look exactly like Tylenol. They're going to dump it in to our headache supply as well, because mRNA, you are giving me a headache. Quit poisoning our people. OLoughlin founder Matthew Lewin said, OLoughlin founder Matthew Lewin said many people die from snake bites on their way to the hospital since those most at risk of venomous snake bites are sometimes days away from the nearest hospital. And because anistera is expensive and needs to be kept in a cold place. To combat that, OLoughlin is working on a pill that targets a specific enzyme found in the venom of many snakes, and which is particularly harmful to the human body. Lewin and Rossi said they say the pill could be the difference between someone dying en route to the hospital or making a full recovery. So this is 100% mRNA bros are getting together with snake bros. Like I didn't know what to think. I haven't watched Brian Artis. I've just watched John talk about Brian Artis pretty much. And he's makes some points. But yeah, this is the two communities. Like I said, mRNA bros, snake bite bros. They're in the melting pot, baby. They're in the Silicon Valley melting pot. They're in the desert, in Joshua Tree. And they're like, hey, man, it'd be cool, man, if that snake bit you, man. And then you get to take some mRNA, man. 75% of the deaths from snake bites occur before patients even get help, said Lewin, who is based just north of San Francisco. For me, the idea that you could have something that could act as a bridge to survival on top of having a better outcome in the cases is really compelling. They also hope the pill could help people recover more quickly and fully from a snake bite and to prevent the venom from devastating the body to the point where amputation is required. And since it's just a pill, it would be relatively cheap to manufacture and easy for a person to store in their pocket. So you could be walking around with some mRNA pill in your pocket. That's just what we need, ladies and gentlemen. That's just what we need on the black market. It's bad enough we got heroin, cocaine, marijuana, all the other. We got alligator skin pills. You got the one that makes people eat each other's face off in Florida. Now you're going to have mRNA on the market. How can I infect your DNA? You've been pissing me off lately. You need a change of attitude. Take this mRNA pill. Hopefully it helps out. Well, that's pretty much what the doctors do with all those psycho pills. I don't know what they're called exactly. Well, OLoughlin's focus right now is that product, which is about to begin clinical trials in the U.S. and India. Great. We got mRNA pills being tested in U.S. and India. Rossi still believes mRNA could be a game changer in the fight against venomous snake bite. Theoretically, he said the technology could be used to manufacture anistera that are cheaper and better than current versions available. This is what they want. Do you not seen a theory here with mRNA? It's a nice technology, you know. It's a nice way to affect your DNA. It's going to be in everything. It's going to be in your yogurt. It's going to be in your soda at Taco Bell. Probably going to be in the beef too. It's in the air. They're going to spray it in the air. They're going to dump it in the water. How can we make the human population great again? That's the globalist plan. Let's make the human population great again. I don't know what's gotten into me this past half hour. I'm about 9 minutes past closing. It's closing time, and I don't want to go out. Antiserum is complicated to manufacture. Rossi said that the process involves collecting venom from a snake, injecting it into a horse, since horses don't die from most snake venoms, extracting the horse's blood, and using the antibodies that the horse creates. With enough funding, we're all going to be. Is this how they make the snakes have legs? The snakes just want the legs. Paul Di Podesta wants legs. And they're injecting the venom into horses so they can run fast, ladies and gentlemen, because they feel neighborhood news nipping at their slimy heels. This is some weird talk about zoonosis, by the way. You want to get into zoonosis, it's like, what are you doing? You're like, you just do zoonosis in the laboratory on a daily basis. Then you just go out into the world and you start spreading this stuff to snakes, horses, monkeys, birds, mosquitoes, anything you scientists can get your hands on. It's unbelievable. And then you try to, then you just want more money. Just more and more money for the research. And then you want more and more money for the therapeutics and vaccines on the back end. I'm almost done with science. Once Scientology kind of hit the market, it was like, I should have known then. We need to be done with science. Let's just go back to being cavemen. That's what my goal should be. I named my original show Caveman Science. Let's just dump the science and be cavemen and cave women and not cave its or I's or they's. Just the basics, cavemen and cave women. With enough funding, I'm done with my ADD. With enough funding support, Rossi says it's feasible that scientists could use mRNA technology to manufacture a better antiserum and take the horse out of the equation, which could also greatly reduce the production costs. He also said the manufactured antiserum could be manufactured to be better suited to humans rather than to current antidotes that use horse cells. So we're going to start injecting people with snakes and seeing how that goes in India. Guaranteed. Saki Valleyapuri, a snakebite researcher in the UK who has seen the impact of venomous snakes in his own home community in southern India, said he believes mRNA could even one day be used to create a vaccine for venoms. Here's your mRNA snake venom, people. Straight from the snake's mouth. Sakti Valleyapuri, researcher from the United Kingdom. Surprise. Surprise. Straight from the horse's mouth, too, actually. Yeah. Until I met Derek, I thought that said Dietrich for a second. Until I met Derek, am I even showing this stuff on the screen anymore? Are people still watching? Until I met Derek, I thought vaccines will be useless for snakebite because snakebite is an acute problem. It can kill a person within minutes to hours, said Valleyapuri, who also worked alongside Lewin in 2014. Since 2014, I just want to put in quotes like at the Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone. In those cases, vaccines can't make an impact quickly. So let's do some gene drive therapy on the mosquitoes that bite the snakes. Also, for example, he said the body is allowed more time to produce antibodies for COVID-19 upon infection, which is why vaccines were an obvious goal to fight the coronavirus. However, he said researchers show that mRNA vaccines can produce antibodies in as little as 3 hours, which gives him hope that targeted vaccine campaigns in rural villages could one day save countless lives. So in every biolab that Metabiota sets up around the world, it's going to have mRNA snake vaccine poison pills in it also. Guaranteed. Back at O4X's labs, Rossi says the molecule they're using to tackle snake bites is only the first step in their fight. What we'd like to see is success with his first approach, said Rossi. Then, he says, their goals can broaden from there. Once we get the snake venom down, we can go to the world. He actually already did that. He David Bowie fan. You ever listen to David Bowie in reverse? The hidden messages they have in some of his songs in reverse. I'm not going to do that on the show, but just Google that. David Bowie in reverse. There's some interesting things in there. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You got snake bites. You got mRNA snake bites, admittedly being researched by the Moderna co-founder. You know, it's right there, people. You got the African children being tested with this new malaria vaccine. At the same time, you got the malaria gene drive therapy mosquitoes being dumped in Africa, all funded by Bill Gates. Vaccines and the gene drives. Weird. It's weird. He owns the intellectual property as well to the mosquitoes and some of the vaccines. Weird. Weird. We know he's a proxy player. We know it's not just Bill Gates. We know he's like the front man. He's a puppet as well. But he's good at being a puppet, at least. He's good at playing his role. That's something we all need to do here at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. And what is your guys' role out there? It is to save Neighborhood News Studio. You save it in your favorites bar. You know? So you don't lose us ever because we get taken down. We're live streaming on Rumble right now. Go to neighborhoodnewsstudio.com, save it in your favorites. The live stream on Odyssey right now. Go to neighborhoodnewsstudio.com, save it in your favorites. The live stream on YouTube right now. Go to neighborhoodnewsstudio.com and save it in your favorites. The live stream at Facebook right now. Go to neighborhoodnewsstudio.com, save it in your favorites. Save it in your favorites. Now, all you listening on audio as well. Save it in your favorites. That is your job. These Bill Gates puppets, these Hunter Biden, Joe Biden puppets, these Fauci puppets, these Zelensky puppets, they all play their role pretty well. You guys need to play your role too. Even better. If we want to beat these guys, we need you guys. We need you guys to play. So, some of us are stars on the team. Some of us are role players.
Come on, man.
All right, I think we got the Liberia chimps. Yeah. We got our news, our research hitting the mainstream on a constant basis. So make sure if you guys are out there as mainstreamers, as alternative news sources, make sure you give credit where credit's due. That's not to just me. That's the Neighborhood News Studio at neighborhoodnewsstudio.com. And make sure, everyone, you go out there. Don't say you didn't hear it from me. Right now, I'm not like a prepper at all. I'm not a stalker at all. At all. But make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you start going to your stores. Every time you go to the stores, pick up a bunch of canned goods. You know, start storming away in your closet. Pick up some gallons of water. Go get some water tanks. Start storing your rainwater that where they were talking about. Spring is coming. Start growing your own gardens. Gardens. That's where we need to start going. You're going to see a food supply shortage here very soon. So make sure you have your backup with the canned goods, you have your backup with the water supply, and you start growing your own fresh vegetables on your property so they cannot be taken away. And if you if you can, if you have the ability to like have a chicken coop, something of that nature, you can raise some animals, have some chicken eggs, some meat if things get really rough. Go ahead and do it now. Now is the time. We don't know. We're just seeing the start of it. The control and the lockdown. Or like, oh, it's gonna end soon. No, it's not, ladies and gentlemen. It is not gonna end anytime soon. It's just the beginning. And we do need to start preparing for the future. And getting our and preparing for the food supply shortage. I'm not sure what you guys want to do with your money. I don't have any. I know what my answer is with the money. I got nothing, but I can work. I'm able-bodied. That's about, if worse comes to worse, I can shovel dirt and plant seeds and water them. It does take a lot of energy to feed this big boy, though. But because I'm big, I'm good for security as well. I am just rambling right now. I'm supposed to be ending the show, but I'm having so much fun. Warning you guys, warning the public.
Come on, man.
Of Joe Biden and the gang's plans. Puppet's plans. The puppet plan. Ooh, that should be the name of our upcoming documentary that we haven't talked about until now. The puppet plan. The worldwide takeover of the puppets. Who's pulling the strings? Is it Kissinger's? Is it the Rothschild? Is it Queen Elizabeth? Is it the Saudis? Is it the Jews? Who is it? Is it the old world blood from Rome? Is it the English bankers? Who is it? Who is it? You'll find out next week on neighborhoodnewsstudio.com.